Good morning, Shawn. Very happy that you spent the time to, or taking the time to talk to me and go over some of these questions about your candidacy for the Armada School Board. So I'd like to introduce everybody to Shawn Wylin. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself and answer a few questions, and hopefully give people a little better grasp on who she is and why she wants to be a school board member.
Yeah, hi, good morning, Jason. Thanks so much for this opportunity. It's really nice to be able to chat with you and to answer some questions and hopefully help people understand a little bit more about me and why I hope to get their vote to stay on the school board. So, little about me. I was born and raised in Armada. I'm a proud graduate of Armada area schools. Graduated in 2001. After high school, I went to Western Michigan University and got a degree in communications and then started my career in talent acquisition. So my job actually took me out of state. But I always knew that if I were to start a family, that I would want to move back to Armada and raise my kids where I grew up. And so we did just that. My husband, Alex, and I have two boys. When our oldest son was born, we moved back to Armada and have been raising our kids there ever since. So I now have two kids in the district. Cooper is in the third grade and Charlie is in the first grade. And a little over a year ago, there was an opening on the board. And so, I thought, if not me, then who else? And, I can give it a shot and see if it's something that is for me. So I was appointed and have spent the last year as a trustee on the school board and have just learned a tremendous amount about what it is to be a school board member, the role of the school board, the role of individual members on the board, and really feel passionately about continuing to drive forward the mission and vision of the district and help our superintendent and administrators and staff really do the work to achieve those goals.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right. So first question, what are two or three strengths that you think our district can and should be proud of?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And as I was thinking about this, there's quite a few things I think that we can choose from. But the first that I'll highlight is the academic achievements. Where ultimately the school is looking to create a really positive educational experience for our students. And in the most recent newsletter that was sent out to folks in the district, they highlighted from the M-STEP results that our students scored in the top number one position, 11 out of 18 of those tests, so different tests and different grade levels. We were first in scoring in the county, which I think is fantastic. So I think from an education perspective, our students are performing really, really well. You hear a lot about learning loss as a result of the pandemic and students being out of the classroom for so long. I think that, while sure we experienced a little bit of that, our students were in person as soon as we were able to get back in the classroom. Our students were there and our staff, our teachers did just a phenomenal job of keeping things moving forward for our students. So I think that's definitely one. Another that I would highlight is just the breadth and depth of programs that are offered in Armada. I'm so happy that there is a realization, or the pendulum has kind of swung back the other way, where we know that students aren't just going to go to college after they graduate. There's so many different paths that they can take. And I think our district has done a really nice job of creating a broad range of opportunities, from building trades to the culinary arts program. There's just lots of different things that students, based on their interests, that they can get involved in. And then in addition to that, it's not just the CTE programs, it's also, our athletes. We have lots of student athletes that are just phenomenal. But we also have amazing arts programs. Our band and choirs, consistently do really well. The plays are always phenomenal. So I think when you look at a district the size of ours, to see all of those different programs that are offered to create opportunities for all students to really get involved is pretty amazing.
Excellent. I would agree with both of those.
Yeah. Especially those girls golfers, right?
Yeah.
The girls golf team.
Yes, they were amazing to spend a lot of time with. So no, I had fun doing it. It was fun. But no, I mean, I also have, as you know, we have 5 children. So 2 of them have since graduated, and I still have 3 in the district, 1 in high school and 2 in elementary. But it's the high school with all the different options, and my kids were very active in sports and theater and orchestra for a while, and it's been a great thing. So what are 2 or 3 priorities that you think our district needs to address?
Yeah. So I think first and foremost, as a parent, and someone that is just aware of what's happening in this world, I think safety is, a number 1 top priority. We've done a lot, right, in terms of making sure that school is a safe place for our students to go. We've added another, security officer to help, Tim Wolkers with leading that. We've done a lot from a building perspective to make sure that we have those safe entrances. In the bond issue, there is, additional safety measures for the high school, but I think that that's something that we have to really stay on top of and make sure that our teachers and staff and administrators have what they need to make sure that it's a safe environment for our kids. So that's one thing. Another opportunity, when you think more globally about what's happening in education, I think we wouldn't have the results that we have. We wouldn't have the programs that we have without the teachers and the staff, our bus drivers, our food service workers, our custodians, administrators, our teachers. If we didn't invest in them and make this a destination place for them to want to be. And so we're lucky in that we're not losing teachers in droves. But it's something that I think we have to continue to stay focused on and make sure that we're listening to them. Yeah. We can't kind of take our eye off of the prize of making sure that they have what they need and that they feel supported. Because if our teachers go, it's really difficult to find qualified teachers now. So, we just need to continue to make sure that they're being supported and getting what they need, and making sure that they're focused on getting our kids that quality education.
Excellent. Prior to your involvement on the school board, are there any other school districts or community organizations that you've been involved with?
Yeah. So the big one for me has been Armada PAL. So for those who might not be familiar, PAL is the Police Athletic League. And it's an organization that takes kids from the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grades here in Armada to a traditional sleepaway summer camp up in northern Michigan for a week in August. So I was a camper. I won't disclose how. Oh, awesome.
I was on the very first ever PAL camp.
Oh, you were? That's
Yeah.
awesome. Very cool. I was there after that. I won't disclose exactly how many years ago it was, but it was a while ago. I was a camper, loved it, and then was on the staff for 13 years, really until I started my family. So I would, take a week away from school or a week away from work and go and spend it to make sure that those kids had an awesome time. And then just 2 years ago, I started going again as a camper. It's much different now as, an older mom that's going, not as much energy maybe as I had a decade ago. But it's still just an incredible opportunity. It's an organization I very much believe in and support. And then in addition to that, I'd say over the last year, the school board has taken a lot of time, right? So it's more than just, one meeting a month. I'm part of the policy committee. I'm part of the budget committee. So spending time making sure that I'm, in the loop and up to speed on all of the things that we're making decisions about. I also spend quite a bit of time taking classes. So there are classes that are offered for school board members to really understand fully what our role and responsibility is. So trying to be as, up to speed as I can. Um, and then lastly, while I'm not 100% affiliated, I'm not a member of the board or a coach for the Armada Baseball Association. We spend a lot of time, and I try to do as much as I can to help support that organization.
Excellent. That kind of parlays real nicely into my next question, which is, what do you believe are the most important characteristics of a school board, of an effective school board, or of an effective school board member?
Yeah. So an effective school board, um, first and foremost, I think they have to have the students really at the center of what they do, and there has to be a common mission and vision that everyone agrees upon in order to move forward. So it's not that everyone has to agree about everything, right? In fact, it's, much better that we have diverse and different perspectives that we can bring to the table. And we can debate and we can disagree. But it's really critical in order for us to keep that focus on the kids, to make sure that we can come to a consensus respectfully and move forward. And when you have that common mission and vision of making sure that every decision that you make is for the betterment of the district, then I think that makes a good board. As far as a board member goes, one of the things that can be difficult is, we're responsible to make sure that all students in the district are thought of when we're making decisions at the board table. And so, if there are things that for my family personally, things that I believe about how I want to raise my children and what I think is important, that may not necessarily be what's in line for the betterment of the district. And so, yeah, it's got to be about the whole, not just some of the parts. So, and that can be a challenge. Of course, there is no more important thing than, the health and well-being and how much I love my children. But there's a responsibility to the community and the district when you're a board member.
Excellent. And my last question here, you kind of almost answered in the last one, which was, would you be able to support a board decision that you did not vote in favor of? Why or why not? And the reason I asked that, and you kind of touched on it, I've sat on several boards before, some of them which are very boring board meetings because, like you said, we all agree. So it's like, motion, second, yay, meeting's over. And the best decisions are made when you might have some varying decisions. But what happens if someone is hard and fast on one side and the vote doesn't go their way, and then you exit that room and go out? How are you, would you be, or, how would you handle that if you were on the opposing side of that vote?
Yeah. So I can tell you that it's happened already. I mean, I haven't always been part of the majority. And that's okay. That at the end of the day, I believe and trust that the other members of the board also have the best interest of students. And if we've had, a good debate and discussion, if it doesn't go my way, my job is to continue to support the decisions that the board as a whole has made. So again, my individual perspective, doesn't matter. And if I'm not in the majority, it's my job to help, move things forward. Now, I do think it is also the responsibility to make sure that, when we're making decisions that we're measuring them and we're, tracking progress and making sure that things are working. And if, need be, to bring it back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's important for us not to just make decisions and then, walk away. So, but I absolutely would support. I think, It might not be easy all the time, but that is how an effective board. It's about consensus and making decisions that we can live with, and if it's something that I can live with, I'll absolutely, after leaving that room, support it.
Excellent. Those are all the questions that I had put together that I'm going to try to ask the whole slate of candidates. But in closing, if you want to just give a couple minutes summary on why you deserve our vote and what sets you apart from the other candidates.
Yeah. So it's a tough one, right? I'm not a politician, and so that's probably
A good thing.
a
Just kidding.
not. Yeah, exactly. I hope so. Anyway, um, it is tough. I think all of the candidates are running, based on what they think is right. So I have nothing but respect for people who are willing to throw their hat in the ring. But I think a vote for me would ensure that there's someone who is, really a team player on the board, who is focused on, nothing but making sure that we keep moving forward with that strategic plan of the district. So I was really happy to be a part of the process that included parents and teachers, administrators, but parents really had an opportunity to give their voice and have their say in what they thought was important when we built that strategic plan out. And so I think it's really important in all of our jobs to make sure that we stay focused on moving that forward. And then continuing to listen. I was a communications major, but what I've learned about communicating over the years is that it's better to listen than it is always to talk. And so I would commit to listening to parents and making sure that our voices are represented at the board table, because I think it is absolutely critical.
God gave you 2 ears and one mouth, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, like I said, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me for a few minutes. And just good luck. And this will all be, what do you got? About another week and a half or
Yep.
so? Or is it a week from today? What I'm trying to think.
November 8th, 2 weeks
2 weeks.
from today.
2 weeks from
2 weeks
today.
from today.
All right. Well, best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Jason.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.